not about diversity, it's about humanity. Hire and promote women on potential.
Are you ready for that?
Women need to take a page from men and own their own success.
This century is to enable the others.
This is no simple reform. It really is a revolution.
Women is going to be very powerful. Are you ready for that?
Hello, you're listening to the first podcast to go for women in tech and all those who want to build a smart gender equity for tech. 10 minutes, really actionable advice. At 50 in Tech, we give you the keys to unlock the tech industry and move it for real. Today, we are proud to welcome Ian McDonald, CTO in residence at Microsoft for Startup and one of our pioneer partners.
I'm Ian McDonald and I'm CTO in residence at Microsoft for Startups in Western Europe. Today, I want to talk about how we can help women, how we can help introverts to really flourish in the startup ecosystem. So I want to talk about why we're doing away with pitching and how there are practical steps to make you better. One thing that we've found here at Microsoft is that pitch decks don't really work. A pitch deck is a short presentation outlining the business plan for a startup. In the startup world, this has often been used as a convenient way for VCs to judge who they should accept and by incubators or accelerators to judge who they should help. These pitches are delivered by the founders and they can be given as little as 3 minutes to talk about their company, which means that you're often being judged on your skill as an orator. What pitch decks do is tell you who's good at selling. And we don't want to know who's good at selling, we want to know who's good at building. So wherever possible, we're actually doing away with the concept of pitch decks. When we invite people to join our program, we send them out a questionnaire so they can fill it out in their own time and in their own way. And then when people come into the office, what we do is we have a series of meetings with them and we just sit there and ask them to tell them about their product, tell us about their background. We don't let them use slides, we just get them to actually talk to us. And what we find is that we find people who are passionate about their products, who understand how to build their products and how they understand their markets. So what do you want to do? Do you want to find somebody who's the best salesperson or do you want somebody who has the best startups? So when we've changed this approach, what we've seen is that we've seen quite a different range of people coming into our programs and the people that we're able to help. We're able to help those that are introverts. Women are more likely to apply because they're not having to sell themselves in a masculine way. We're finding that older people are applying, and the statistics actually show that when you include women, when you have older people, when you have introverts, you actually have higher success rates with startups. All the statistics show that diverse founders massively increases the profitability of startups, and we've certainly found that ourselves. Recently, in our AI for Good intake that we ran, we had a company called Thermify that the woman leading it was a woman in her 50s. She was quite shy and she wasn't sure about even applying. And then we actually sat down and had a chat to her and she was very open, was able to express her product extremely well. And then she got to the end of it and she said, okay, when do I do my pitch? And I says, you don't have to do a pitch as we talked about. You've actually explained your product very well and we actually want to take you on board. And she was totally amazed at this difference because it had empowered her to come into our cohort and to build her company. And she would never have been accepted under a traditional approach. And now she's doing amazing things. Initially, we did this because we didn't have time to listen to all the pitches and we introduced a form for people to fill in. And then once we introduced the form, we accidentally discovered that it actually increased the range of people that we wanted to talk to because what was coming through on the form was actually quite different when people just came in and gave a 3-minute pitch on a PowerPoint deck. So when we realised the benefits of that, that's when we stuck with it. And then we also removed the pitch in the office after the form and introduced just a face-to-face meeting or alternatively over Skype. It is hard when you're an introvert, when you're different from somebody else, whether that's because you're from a diverse background, whether you're a woman, to break into the world of startups. So it is a matter of plucking up the courage and getting going. It isn't always easy. Remember, particularly when you have to do things like financial projections that estimate very high, men will always overestimate the amount of sales and profits that they'll get. And I've seen quite a few examples where women will come and show me their financials and the numbers are much lower. And when I ask them, they says, well, I've only got a 20% chance or 30% chance of hitting this higher number, so I didn't put it down. Where a man will put that higher number and then add even more to it. So I say to people, take the most optimistic number that you can think of and use that as your number, because that is what others are actually doing. And unfortunately, you need to do it yourself. We are going to get rid of this process as time goes on. We need to change the whole venture capital world. We need to change the whole pitching world. But in the meantime, that's a concrete way that you can make yourself a more viable startup by making those numbers that you project to everybody more optimistic. We have found that women in startups are providing a couple of key advantages. We're finding that they're understanding the customers better. Rather than talking over top of the customers, they're actually listening to customers. They're taking the time to understand problems with their product. When the customer tells them something is broken, rather than being defensive, they're actually listening to them, empathizing them, and then helping make the changes and bringing that forward. So we're seeing definitely much happier customers when women are involved in helping run the company. And we're finding that the companies themselves are much more restful and much more achieving. And that doesn't mean that they are slow in progress, far from it. They're still driven forward, but in a much more productive manner. At Microsoft, we want to empower every person on the planet to achieve more. And we can't do that if we're forgetting 50% of the population. As such, we're hugely excited by the platform that 50 in Tech is building, and we're proud to be a launch partner. In our late stage accelerator, we already have a high percentage of firms with female founders, and we want to lift this to 50%. We see our partnership with 50 in Tech as one way we can help move this forward. I'm excited personally about the 50 in Tech platform because I've seen many female entrepreneurs who haven't achieved their full ability. I've also come from a background of difference. I'm high-functioning autism, so I want to see people of every kind promoted, and we can't leave behind people in any way, shape or form.
If you like this podcast, subscribe, comment and share, and give us a 5-star note on your preferred platform. Should it be iTunes, Google or SoundCloud. And if you want to empower women at scale, share an advice on 50intech.com.